Hello everyone, and welcome back to Horror Talks with Tate. I'm Tate, your host. It's a pleasure to return to your head. In this podcast, join us as we dive deep into the characters, themes, director cuts, and more. Today we uncover our very first Battle of Horrors, original versus remake. Today's Battle of Horror is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 20th century original versus its 21st century remake. The franchise has 9 installments from 1974 to 2022. This episode does contain spoilers for the entire Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. So if you haven't seen them, it is your opportunity to click off, watch the epic films, and come back. We'll be here waiting for you. The franchise is about a horrifying crime in Texas, a cannibal serial killer who kills people for food, and it's based on a true crime where a serial killer named Ed Gein created furniture and moss out of human skin and has been stealing graves from a cemetery. Out of all the classic villains, like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers, Leatherface is more terrifying because he chases his victims with a chainsaw. Yeah, chainsaws can be a brutal weapon for a serial killer to use. In this franchise, there are differences between the original and the remake of Leatherface. In the original, Leatherface suffers an intellectual disability and goes crazy sometimes. And in the remake, Leatherface is strong and is more dangerous than you think. Anyway, let's get right into the plot details for the original and the remake of the franchise. Shall we? Our journey begins with the original. In August 18th, 1973, around Texas, Sally Hardis, his brother, and 3 friends went on a road trip to visit their homestead until they get attacked by a family of cannibals, and the actual serial killer is Leatherface, a guy who murders his victims with a chainsaw and wears a mask made out of a human face. The group were murdered, but Sally had thankfully survived after being chased by Leatherface and his brother. After that, Leatherface started swinging his chainsaw around like he's dancing. Do you want to hear the original of Leatherface? The prequel to the original will show you all about it. At the Gorman house, where they keep all the inmates, Dr. Lane made an escape riot, and Elizabeth helped Jackson out of the house, but was captured by 2 psycho inmates. They walked around the woods, and a few days later, they went to the Sawyer house and revealed that Jackson is Leatherface. Elizabeth gets chased by Leatherface, and she told him to stop and that there is still good in him, but Leatherface refused and killed Elizabeth. Now that the original's done, let's talk about the remake and its prequel. Starting to the remake. In August 18th, 1973, around Texas, Erin and a group of her friends went on a road trip until they grabbed a girl who was walking alone in the road for a ride. But she told them to stay away from the cannibals before committing suicide by shooting herself. They went to a house to find help until they get caught by Leatherface and his family. Erin escaped the house, but was being chased by Leatherface. A few moments later, Erin found a police car, which was one of Leatherface's family, but she got in the car and ran over him multiple times, and saved a baby from the family, and successfully escaped. But what happened before that? Let's find out in the prequel of the remake. 2 brothers, Eric and Dean, and their girlfriends went for a drive across the country of Texas until a biker ordered them to stop the car. But the group went into a car crash, and one of Leatherface's families took them to Leatherface's house. Chrissy escapes, but was chased by Leatherface, as usual. He chased her to a slaughterhouse where Leatherface used to work before getting fired. She got out and went to a car and finally drove away. But suddenly, Leatherface appears in the back seat and brutally killed Chrissy. After that, Leatherface got out of the car and started to walk home. Yeah, the franchise is disturbing and has a lot of brutal stuff. Anyway, let's get to the discreet directors and figure out what interesting things are there in the franchise. The original was directed by Tobe Hooper and was written by Tobe Hooper, of course, and Kim Henkel, and invited the actors, including Gunnar Hamson, Marilyn Burns, and Paul A. Parton. The film was announced and was planned to be based on a true crime that happened in the 1950s, and it began development in early 1970s with a budget of $140,000. The movie was filmed for 32 days, and at the wrapping party, everyone was tired, sore, and mad because they used real bones and real tools for filming. So filming the movie was dangerous, but thankfully no one was injured. Damn, no wonder why this movie is disturbing. The props they use in this movie is an actual chainsaw and a real sledgehammer. The film was released on the 11th of October 1974, and it became one of the best independent horror movies and got a worldwide box office of $30.9 million and got an amazing rating score for the film. IMDb score of 7.4 out of 10 and a Rotten Tomatoes score of 89%. The movie was filmed around Texas, Round Rock, Waterson for the slaughterhouse, and the Baghdad cemetery. So it got a huge success, and that's what created a franchise, and it just got popular. The origin of Leatherface movie called Leatherface was directed by Julian Marley and Alexander Bastillo, and was written by Tobe Hooper, Seth M. Sherwood, and Kim Henkel. And the main actors for the characters is Lily Taylor, Stephen Dorff, and Sam Strike. In January 2013, they announced a new installment called Texas Chainsaw 4, but they had no rights to make a sequel, so they decided to make a movie about the origin of Leatherface, and the film was in development on the 13th of August 2014. Filming began in the 18th of May 2015, but then they stopped for an unknown reason, and then it continued in June and had taken 27 days to complete. The filming locations were in Bulgaria and in the same farmhouse from the original film where Leatherface's family lives in. The props they use in this movie is 2 chainsaws, rubber and electrical, and prop guns. Practical effects was used for the gore, killings, and corpses. The film was planned on a 2016 release, but was delayed to October 2017, and had been released on the 20th of October 2017, and got a box office of $1.5 million, and got the rating for the movie, MIDB score of 5.10, and a Rotten Tomatoes score of 27%. So it wasn't like so successful, but whatever. I've also heard about how it was making the remakes were, so I will get right into it. The remake of the original was directed by Marcus Nispel and was written by Tobe Hooper, Kim Henkel, and Scott Kozar. The main characters were played by Andrew Berezowski, Jessica Biel, Jonathan Tucker, and Mike Vogel. On the 5th of December 2001, a new movie of the franchise was announced and is set to be the remake of the original, and had begun development on June 2002 with a budget of $9.5 million. Filming started in July 2002 and took 40 days to complete when it was hot in the locations, and Leatherface's costumes and mask heats up quickly, and the actor needed to drink lots of water before filming his scenes and was forced to wear a fat suit. About the filming locations, they planned the location to film the movie in California, but they moved the filming location to Austin in Texas. The props they use in this movie is a chainsaw that just has smokes coming out, and a real chainsaw for cutting objects, and a sledgehammer. They released the film in the 17th of October 2003 and earned a box office of $162 million. It became one of the most scariest remake ever, and they got a rating of the movie, IMDb score of 6.2 out of 10, and a Rotten Tomatoes score of 37%. It got a huge success, and a prequel was announced. The prequel was directed by Jonathan Lisbon and was written by Sheldon Turner and David J. Scow. Andrew Berezowski returned as Leatherface, and the actors that joined the production are Jordana Brewster, Taylor Handley, Matt Bomer, and Yura Brer. After the success of the remake, Andrew Form and Brett Fuller began making an idea of making a new installment of the franchise and made it a prequel to the remake with a budget of $16 million. During development, they asked Scott Kozar, who wrote the remake but had many projects to do, so he got replaced with Sheldon Turner to write the film. Filming began in the 10th of October 2005 and was wrapped in February 2006. The movie was filmed in the same several locations where they did the remake of the franchise in Austin, Texas. The props they use in the movie is a chainsaw and a sledgehammer and a gun, of course, and the special effects which is used for the gore. The movie was released in the 6th of October 2006 and got a worldwide box office of $51.8 million and got the ratings for the movie. IMDb score of 5.8 out of 10 and a Rotten Tomatoes score of 15%. Now, let's talk about my final segment, Insane Insiders. There are some similar stuffs in the original and the remake. Leatherface, because he's the main villain, cannibals, evil family, disturbing tortures, and the same type of stories are in those movies, but sometimes there are different types of main characters in this franchise. Now let's get to the foreshadowing. In the original, a hitchhiker went to the group's van and he told them that his brother is a butcher, and his brother is actually Leatherface. In the original prequel, during the attack, Jason got his face shot open, but survived and got it stitched back up. That's when you might think that he is Leatherface. In the remake, a girl who committed suicide told the group of young adults to stay away from the cannibal's house, or they will be killed, because she was attacked by Leatherface and his family before the group gets attacked. And in the remake's prequel, while Leatherface was working as a butcher, a worker tries to fire him by calling him a dumb animal. After that, Leatherface turned his back and stared at him like he's going to kill the boss. Now next is the fun facts for the films. About Leatherface, there is a reason why he is killing people. It's because he is scared of what might happen to his family, and that the victims are intruders to him. Yeah, it's really messed up. Anyway, let's get going. In the original, the movie is based on a true story. A real-life serial killer was Ed Gein, and he has been stealing graves and make furniture and masks out of human skin, which I've been going through the documentaries of Ed Gein, and it was terrifying. In the original prequel, the movie shows the origin of Leatherface. Like, who was he before becoming Leatherface? In the remake, Leatherface is big and he doesn't act crazy like the original. This movie made an influence to the original horror franchise to make remakes of their movies. A sequel was planned to be made, but was cancelled due to the company and is made as a prequel. And in the remake's prequel, the film shows what happened before the actual remake, like before Erin and her friends get attacked by Leatherface and his family. Last is the Easter eggs, which are really interesting, and one of them is disturbing. So let's get moving. In the original, a human skeleton from the end of the movie was actually a real human skeleton, which is disturbing, and that's why the movie was very gruesome. In the original prequel, the house where Leatherface's family lives in is the same house from the original, which that surprised me, of course. In the remake, some of the crews from the original film had also worked on the remake. That's surprising. And in the remake's prequel, it had the same kind of dinner scene like from the original. I was like, OMG, I know this part. So, yeah, like I said, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise is one of my favorite because of a guy attacking people with a chainsaw. It's like really insane, and I love how it's based on a true story. This concludes today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed listening, and I will be back in your head next week as we talk about the first episode about a comedy horror film, starting with Krampus. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, stay spooky.